Hey there everyone, this is the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage. Haven't brought you a video of a machine that I have ready to list for sale recently, but you are looking at the White brand Model 164. And if it looks not unlike the two-tone turquoise white machine models, that's to be expected because they come from the same era. These are very early 1960s machines. At this point in its history, the White Sewing Machine Company was having sewing machines made both in Germany and in Japan, and they were being manufactured at White specifications. This machine, of course, is all steel, it's all metal, and one thing that's unusual is that many machines will have all kinds of different ways to remove the top. This piece was quite expensive to cast. They actually did it as a monocoque one piece, and it probably is because inside here is a drive shaft, and this is a straight stitch model. And of course, when you went shopping for sewing machines back in the day, you might have gone looking for a machine for the first time in a generation, and you might have had sticker shock when you went into a department store or a White sewing machine dealer. And so again, just like with Sears and their Kenmore brand and with Singer, the White Company also needed to have multiple models at different price points. What's interesting about the vintage era is that when you went in and saw sewing machines that had different prices, the quality of all of the machines was the same. They didn't scrimp on the quality of the lower price models, but they would simply leave out features. And remember, in the 50s and certainly by the early 60s, zigzag capability or overcast stitch was a very popular thing to have. It was the latest thing. Well, there were people who went shopping and they might have taken family members with them, maybe their mom or their grandmom or other family members. And those people may have said, hey, you don't need all that fancy zigzag stuff. So I've used a straight stitch machine, forever, and you can too. And the reality is you can. I personally sew on a straight stitch sewing machine for my own needs. Many of you who buy machines will need, many of you have more than one machine. Some of you have dedicated decorative and zigzag stitchers. And those of you who prefer a dedicated straight stitch machine would be well served by this White model. I can tell by looking at it. It was kept indoors all its life. It was not abandoned to an attic or a basement, and it doesn't look like it got much use. Now keep in mind, even if a machine has not had a lot of use, it still needs to be gone through, and I have overhauled and restored every area of the machine to get it ready for you. And let's see, it is double needle capable. You've got 2 thread spools in the back here. You have stitch length control. You have bobbin winder. You can, of course, lower your feed dogs if you want. And this machine will fit into a sewing table, but it comes with a carrying case. And that's how sewing machines really always came standard. If you wanted tables, you had to pay extra. But some of you may prefer to have a machine in a case. You may not want a table, or maybe you already have another machine in a table. But anyway, I wanted to show you why the White Company bragged about its 1.3 amp sewing machine motor. And first I wanted to show you the stitch quality. Now this is sort of a red fabric, and this is, I'd call this kind of medium lightweight. And if you look at it, look at the quality of the stitches. They're really beautiful, true and straight. Of course, Kenmore's most powerful motor was 1.2 amp, and the White Company, very cleverly thought that they could one-up Sears so that when customers came in, they could say that their motors were more powerful than the Kenmore's. All of these were great. I mean, they all have great power. I don't think you could even measure the difference between 1.2 and 1.3 in terms of the sewing performance. But it certainly helped White when they were going to sell machines. Now I'm going to take, this is a old pair of cargo shorts, and put it in the other way here. Now let's see, I'm going to want to show you the power the machine has, not just on lightweight fabric. Even new machines can mostly sew fine on new weight stuff. So let's see what the machine does when we ask it to go through heavier stuff. Let's get our stitch length long. You always want to be careful that you feed your thicker fabrics under the foot. You don't want them to bind. Now let me let you all see what I have wrought here. And of course it went through where you can see where the waist banding was. It came over the 4 layers plus the layer of the pocket flap. And let's see on the other side. And just a great machine. Like I say, this is something you could use for heavy or lightweight pieces. This is a low shank machine like most vintage models, and it takes class 15 bobbins and is, again, I have vintage bobbins that I'll provide to whoever purchases the machine. But again, this is one of those machines that you could easily pass over. You could see it and not even think twice about it. And it is one powerful worker. Those of you who would like to consider a straight stitch machine, maybe you have others, or maybe you just want to learn to sew and you don't want something with zigzag. The power and the consistency of the stitches in this machine are quite remarkable. And like many other machines of the era, people often, they look to the old black, very old sewing machines, and they sometimes forget that we were still making and selling all metal sewing machines well into the 60s. And of course that would change later. But I sure appreciate you folks watching. This machine has basically been totally overhauled and restored. It is ready for a new home. If you would like to set up a time to come and see it and do some test stitching on it, you can bring your own fabrics, or I always try to provide some here for people because they often forget to bring their own. And if you have any questions or comments, just leave them below, and would love to hear your opinion on the White brand of sewing machine. Thank you.